Alright, so welcome to another episode of our Wealth Building Journey podcast. So this is where we explore, strategies to build, protect, and grow your wealth. I'm your host, Dennis Hilario. And as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Paul Familara.
Hi there.
Yeah, so speaking of yung reels, kasi we talk about real stories here, no? Firstly, yung
Yes.
stories namin in the first few episodes of this podcast. But today we have an amazing guest, no? So we have Gab Puello, who will share his personal journey, no? Yung self-realization into wealth building, no? So it's going to be a value-packed episode. So parang grab your coffee kasi medyo baka mahababang kwentuhan to. So thank you. So hi Gab, how are you?
Hi, good morning. And first of all, I'd like to thank you, Dennis and Paul, for inviting me here. And I'm hoping that I get to provide a lot of value for you guys and the listeners, of this episode.
Yes, so we're excited. So
Definitely.
how about you, Paul? How are you?
Very good, Dennis. Very good. The sun is shining today. Golf will happen. I have a tournament on Sunday, so I'm preparing for that. So I've been practicing. Pero yeah, life is good. Let's just take it one day at a time. Let's appreciate the goodness of the Lord in giving us a good weather. Welcome, Gab. Introduce yourself. We're very happy to have you here.
I'm Gab and I'm 32 years old. Currently, I'm a financial planner. And I got my certification from Registered Financial Consultancy. So it's a multinational organization that trains professionals on how to become a certified financial planner. Now, why is this distinction of high value? Kasi in the Philippines, no, not everyone who calls them financial advisor are really familiar with the process of financial planning. So minsan kasi nagiging title lang siya to sell products. So in RFC, what they do is they teach you all the aspects, holistic approach, no, from budgeting, debt consolidation and elimination, yung pag-optimize ng cash flow, risk management, investment, retirement planning, etc. So I started my journey in this career since I was 21.
Wow.
And
Very
it
early.
was heavily influenced by my mom. Kasi my mom, who happens to be the high school classmate of Paul, has been in this business for 18 years. No? So yun yung naging background. But in fact, the program that I took in college was not related. It was HRM. Kasi back then, my dream was to become a chef. But, life happened and directions changed. So here I am now. Admittedly, when I entered this business, I was doing it for the money. But later on, when I became fully aware of the value that we were giving clients, I saw how my mom helped clients, build their second homes, fund their retirement, allow them to live a comfortable and decent lifestyle. That's when I learned to embrace its mission as well. So right now, I'm operating an agency of multiple financial planners. So ano na ako sa management side. Team building na yung aking focus. But throughout my career, since I was 21, I was able to help almost 500 Filipino families na.
Nice.
And trained more than 50 financial planners. So I hope today I would be able to use my story to empower your audience on how to make smarter financial decisions, especially in the area of insurance, which is my specialty.
Yes. Yeah.
So
That's very
yun.
good.
So far that's my story,
Nice. So can you you mentioned kanina, no, you were like inspired and influenced by your mom, no?
Yeah.
Anong age to? Ano pa lang yung nabanggit mo kanina, nasa early 20s?
Yeah, early 20s. Kasi I asked her if I can be part of the business, if I can learn the business 3 months before my graduation.
Right. But what
Kasi-
was your like, yun talagang, kasi initially, syempre, you're not siguro, correct me if I'm wrong, no? You're not 100% convinced yet, maybe you're just being open to the idea, no? Pero kailan pumasok sa yung real self-realization na this is the right path for you?
Well, it came to me when I was having my OJT. Kasi
Okay.
her office used to be located in San Miguel Avenue in Ortigas.
Yeah, yeah.
And my OJT was in one of the hotels there. I cannot mention the name.
Mukhang alam ko yun.
Pero
Katabi-katabi
ano
lang.
lang, katabing-katabi lang, di ba? So, doon kasi,
Magandang hotel.
when I was young, my grandmother used to watch all these lifestyle channel shows na may mga chef na nagluluto, like Bobby Flay, and, Emeril Lagasse, na sabi ko, while watching with her, gusto ko maging ganyan paglaki ko. Kasi akala ko dati ganun lang kadali. But, when I was having my OJT, ang workload namin was the same as the regular staff of the hotel. Yun nga lang, wala kaming sweldo kasi OJT. That's when I realized na hindi pala ako para doon. Kasi ano yun I mean, I honor those people who are in the F&B industry.
Right.
And their job is really hard.
I know. Oo.
It just so happened na I'm not built for that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, working 14 to 16 hours a day, hindi pwedeng umupo, and the only time that you get to sit down is during lunch breaks. And you guys are familiar with the pay rate in the Philippines. It's not enough to support the life that I want.
Right.
And if you've met my mom before, ang story kasi niya, alam naman ng lahat ng tao to, she was not able to finish college. And she was a solo parent. As a solo parent, one of the biggest fears talaga is kaya ko bang patapusin ng college yung mga anak ko. Dalawa kami, I have a sister. So, it was really challenging for her to find a job that would give her the salary that she needs. Kasi sa Philippines, one of the common standard talaga when you apply for a job is a college degree. And wala siya nun.
Yeah.
It just so happened that someone helped us and mentored her, allowed her to go into this industry. She was taught financial planning and sales. And through that, she was able to turn our life around and give us a comfortable, future. Nakatapos ako ng pag-aaral, pati kapatid ko. Not just in any school, pretty expensive schools.
Okay.
And so, somehow that inspired me na kung kaya niya, baka pwede rin ako dyan. Since during that time, I was like in a limbo na unsure na ako. Nag-aral ako 4 years, tas ngayon parang ayoko na siyang practicein. And so, in a whim, while waiting for job applications to push through, sabi ko, can you teach me how to do your job? Pwede mo ba akong i-train dyan? Gusto kong matutunan. And syempre, wala namang bata na pag laki nila sinabi na gusto ko maging financial planner. Wala namang ganun, di ba? Or back in the day, there were no parents who were dreaming that career for their children. Kasi a huge aspect of that career is also sales. That's how we get paid.
Right.
No? Na, paglaki mo, anak, kailangan maging financial planner ka. Wala namang ganun.
It's more of commission based, no, Gab, no? It's not, you don't get a basic pay, or do you?
There are two ways to earn as a financial planner. The first one is the most common, which is commission-based. Now, if you get certain licenses and certifications, pwede ka mag-switch to fee-based.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Pwede ka mag-private practice. But during that time, I only had access dun sa roles na commission-based.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Sige, that's a good good life story or backstory of you, Gab, no? So, siguro, if for example, I'm your prospective na client who's struggling with the idea of wealth building and financial planning, how would you convince me, when it comes to, and motivate me when it comes to building wealth and financial planning?
Okay. When we talk about wealth building and financial planning, my role is not to convince you to take action and do something. My primary role is first to help you gain clarity. Ano ba yung gusto mo? Bakit gusto mo yung wealth building? Why do you want to build your finances? What are you going to use the money for?
Right.
It always starts with having a clear goal. Kasi that goal will set the direction.
Okay.
Without a clear goal, we cannot put structure into your financial plan. Lahat ng opportunities for investment, whether bagay ba sa risk profile mo o hindi, papasukin mo yan kahit di mo pinag-aralan kasi wala kang clear goal. So, whenever I talk to clients, that's the first step. I schedule an exploratory call and we talk about the dreams and aspirations of this person. Kasi ano yan we need to identify what is your point B. Point B is where do you want to go? What do you want to become? What do you want to have? And how much time do we have para mangyari yan?
Right.
Pero Gab, most of the time pag tanong, yung ganun ng tanong, parang Miss Universe question yun Siyempre, I'll shoot for the stars. Sabihin ko, gusto ko multimillionaire ako, gusto ko gato. How do you distinguish, how do you identify yung nananaginip lang at yung totoo talaga na intindihan niya yung kanyang goal? Kasi, di ba, magkaiba yun yung the fact that you know where you're starting from, but you wanted to achieve something really high without you knowing what is the process going there. Most of the time, yung mga kaya nga nagloloto kasi gusto manalo kagad, maging milyonaryo kagad, di ba? So how do you identify this kind of people pag tinatanong mo sila nung question mo na yun?
Yeah. Well, a goal for it to be effective, it has to be SMART. So you guys are familiar with the acronym.
Yes.
It has to be
I think
specific.
na-mention din ni Dennis yan dati doon sa episode natin, Dennis, about achieving a goal. It should be SMART.
Right.
Yes.
Go ahead, Gab.
So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. If the goal is not SMART, I classify it as a dream. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just that it's hard for us to put a structure on something that's not measurable. So goals, financial goals can be classified into short, medium, and long term. Ngayon, during that conversation with the client, I would usually ask questions to help the person identify kung yung goal niya ay smart ba.
Right.
So kung hindi smart, I will not stop until ma-pinpoint namin ano yung goal na smart for you.
So hindi mo siya gina-judge na, uy, baka nananaginip ka lang. Pwede ba ayusin mo muna yung goal mo? Talagang nagtatanong kayo, keep on probing and probing, and that's part of educating that person into self-realization. Tama ba yun? Para mas na-achieve nyo yung talagang mas practical na goal para sa kanya.
Yes. Most of the time, I would use scaling questions. So let's quickly pretend, sinabi sa akin nung tao, Gab, gusto ko ang income ko every month, 1 million. Okay, so that 1 million monthly income, let's say that's level 10. So from level 1 to 10, where are you right now?
Yun.
And then let's say sinabi niya I'm at level 2. Okay, so what will bring you to level 3? And let's start there. That would make it more realistic.
I'm just curious, Gab, no? So, correct me if I'm wrong, no? Ang mga common goal kasi is number 1 is for emergency, emergency fund.
Yes.
Second is vacation. Third, probably gusto niya na renovation ng bahay, no? Ano pa bukod doon? Ano yung mga common goals na sinasabi ng mga clients?
Iba-iba yung goals na that always comes up in conversation, depende sa life stages. So ano ba yung mga life stage ng tao na usually na-encounter ko? First, let's start with the young adults. Usually these are people who belong in the Gen Z. So sila, when you talk about providing for education, risk management, very seldom yung interested talaga. Not unless pinalakihan na with the mindset na pag-graduate ko, ako na yung bagong breadwinner sa pamilya. Yung tinatawag na sandwich generation. But most of them, ang concern nila, number 1 is they want to retire early. Kasi ito yung generation, these are the generation of young adults who saw how their parents struggled. Who witnessed how relatives had to turn down, no, family members who were asking for financial help. Who saw elders who at their old age, who are already sickly, still struggling to make ends meet. Nagsusupport ng anak, nagsusupport pa minsan ng apo. So they don't want that. Ito yung generation that they want to identify themselves as the breakers of generational curses.
The norm.
Diba? So retire early while being able to enjoy the present, traveling, getting the latest gadget every now and then. No? And also while having time freedom, kasi ito yung mga multi-passionate na tao. And then you have my generation, the millennials, who are right now in their early to mid-30s, medyo ang hinahanap na stability. How can I provide my family a comfortable living, have our own home? Some of people in my generation, they are struggling with past financial mistakes. So, debts nila, di ba? Paano nila tatanggalin? Paano nila babayaran lahat? And then, you have the empty nesters. Empty nesters are parents with adult children who are starting to leave the nest. So either pag-graduate na ng college or nasa early working days na. So sila, what do we do now? After etong mga batang to start building their own lives. These are parents na majority of their adulthood, they spent focusing on the children. So ngayon, nawala na, saan ko ngayon i-attach yung purpose ko? What would be my new motivation to get out of bed every day? So some of them are venturing into business, 'di ba? Yung iba naman gusto traveling pa rin, 'di ba? Iba-iba, building a retirement, probably acquiring property in the provinces kasi gusto na nila mag-slow down. And then you have the retirees. Retirees, most of the time ang priority naman yan is diversification. How to preserve my capital while building a steady cash flow, 'di ba? So ang risk profile niyan hindi na yan masyadong aggressive. Kahit hindi malaki yung return basta gusto nila steady. And then at the last part of the timeline, there are people who are now concerned about estate planning.
Okay.
So when my time here on earth is done, how can I ensure na yung assets that I've accumulated over the years will be passed on to my loved ones with minimal to no expenses sana. Specifically in aspect of taxation. So yun yung mga common priorities that I have to deal with. Oh, I forgot to mention, ito, not in any specific part of the spectrum, basta merong batang involved, college funding is always a concern.
Yeah, of
College.
course. Yeah, I'm curious.
Then, may tatanungin lang kay Gab kasi may
sige.
tatlong words ako na naririnig sa kanya. Paulit-ulit, no, the same word. 3 times siya na mention about retirement. The word retirement. Overrated kasi yung word na retirement. For me kasi, I do not believe in that word. I could believe in the word slowing down. Pero in terms of retirement, sa Philippines kasi, and this is a corporate mindset, no? Yung nagtrabaho ako na matagal, tapos meron ako makukuhang malaking lump sum sa retirement. Yun yung mga time ng mga parents natin, no? Yung mga baby boomers. Tapos may retirement na package na maibibigay, and then magpapahinga na lang raw sila, makikipag-meet sa mga kaibigan, and mamamasyal and everything. Pero alam natin na kahit na you come home with a 12 million package, if you spend 1 million a year, it will last you 12 years lang. And if you retired at 60 or 65, that would last you for another 70 up to 77 years old. So it might not be enough, no? Which means retirement, how do you deal with this kind of when they say I want to retire early?
Yeah.
Alam naman natin, if you retire early, meaning you have to have more funds as early as possible, di ba? So do you reword the word for them, or do you redefine it for them, or you just go along with it and then let them know that retirement is not really a proper mindset?
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. When we talk about retirement, usually we use the term because it's more familiar with our clients. But
Leaving
siguro,
the corporate world or
yes,
leaving the
leaving
job world.
yes.
Job
And
world.
but it does not necessarily entail not really doing anything and just hanging out with friends and traveling. When we talk about retirement, it's you being able to sustain your lifestyle and your basic needs without having to actively work. And this is where the cash flow quadrant comes in. Because for you to be able to have that life, there has to be two requirements. Number one is financial freedom, which can only be attained if your passive income is higher than your expenses. And number two is time freedom. When we talk about time freedom, it's either you have a self-managed business or you have assets working for you. But somehow, it's still incorporates some form of minimal work. Diba? Well, a lot of work when you're still building it, but once it's there, that's when it becomes minimal. Meron pa ring management involved. You still need to oversee. And even if you've already accumulated income-generating assets, from time to time, you will have to revisit your portfolio. Diba? Especially, I have clients who are already in that stage. Yung rates ng rate of return ng investments nila, nagbabago-bago yan. So,
yeah. Based
pa
on
rin?
economy, based
Yes.
on the condition of the industry, and so on, right?
Yes. So, pa rin, from time to time, they will have to revisit that. So, retirement in context for me, maybe for others it's different, but for me, it simply means being able to get out of the 8 to 5. Get out of the rat race and be able to live your life. Kasi may na-set up ka na either self-managed business or investment that can sustain you. The word self-managed business for me is key because there are entrepreneurs, business people who cannot leave their businesses. They cannot afford to take a vacation 2 weeks to 1 month and then come back with the confidence na it's still running. If that's your case, you're still an employee. You're an employee of your business. No, so hindi pa rin siya talaga pasok dun sa definition ng business income doon sa cash flow quadrant.
Correct.
Right. Actually, yung pag sinabi mo kasing yun nga, retirement kasi somehow I position myself as semi-retired last year, no?
Congratulations, Dennis.
Pero actually, I changed my mind. Parang hindi ko kaya. So, actually, parang sinanimos nga siya sa financial independence, no? Lalo na yung mga bata, yun ang inaay nila eh. Like you said, pag yung mga Gen Zs, ang inaay nila is retirement plan, di ba? And again, I think, no, correct me if I'm wrong, is parang financial independence ang gusto nila mangyari. Right.
Yes.
Ayun. Pero okay, so let's talk about yung siguro no, cash flow quadrant na nabanggit na natin earlier. Siguro for clarity lang din and in your own words and understanding, if you can give us, the basic concept ng cash flow quadrant, no.
Yeah. So, I learned this concept from the teachings of Robert Kiyosaki. The sa Rich Dad Poor Dad. Since the story, di ba, meron siyang biological dad and then the dad that stepped in, si biological dad, he named him the poor dad because he made decisions that did not allow him to have financial freedom. And
Ito
then,
yung 8 to 5.
yes, the 8 to 5. And then si Rich Dad, ito yung talagang naging father figure sa kanya. And ang nangyari doon, the behavior of Rich Dad and Poor Dad was classified, no? The rich mindset and the poor mindset. So sabi doon, there are only 4 sources of income and na-categorize niya into 2, the poor and the rich. Simulan natin sa poor. The first quadrant is employment. Okay. Lahat naman yan may pros and cons. We are not job shaming here. The advantages of employment, you have consistent na stream of income. Fixed salary yan eh. 15-30 kahit hindi mo galingan, it's the same. So it gives you consistency. Yun nga lang, pag nagbago yung lifestyle mo, yung needs mo, nagkaanak ka, nag-start ka ng family, you cannot simply ask your employer, boss, I have a new baby on the way. Can you increase my salary? Hindi naman
makahabol
pwede
agad.
yun. Hindi makahabol agad. Because the extent of the income that you can earn is only up to par doon sa budget ng kumpanya para doon sa role na yon.
Correct.
And in employment scenario, usually for you to have increases, you need to be promoted. And we all know for a fact that promotion, it's not something that you can demand anytime.
Correct.
In normal setting, yung boss mo has to be promoted as well or mabakante yung posisyon. So there's no flexibility, there's little control.
Yes.
And one of the biggest threats as well of employment income, it's something that you cannot do for life.
Yeah.
No matter how much you love your job. Kasi the fact remains that someday you will be too old for that role.
Yeah.
Or kanina I heard you guys were talking about AI. Maybe someday your job would become obsolete. Di ba? Mapapalitan na. So you really cannot rely on that. The second quadrant, still under the poor mindset, is self-employment. And that's actually what I'm doing now. So self-employment, these are people who are earning maybe project-based, commission-based, or anything na hindi siya fixed salary, sales-based siya.
Parang mga freelancers, mga ganyan.
Freelancers, people in sales, licensed professionals.
Yeah.
Dito, we are capitalizing on our skills and expertise. But ang advantage na over employment, the earning potential is limitless. Let's say I want to earn 100,000 now, it's possible. Next month, my needs change and then I would require, let's say, 200,000. It's also possible kasi depende siya sa output ko. There's no such thing as budget. Kaya lang, similar to employment, the biggest risk here is the income is dependent on the fact that I am there doing the work.
Yeah, your
The
time.
moment
So yun yung limitations, Gab, no? Yung health mo, yung presence mo, yung being there to do it.
Yes, and it's one of the lessons na we learned the hard way during the pandemic. When everyone were down, 'di ba? It's not just physical health but also emotional and mental health. That when it starts to get affected, yung productivity mo bumababa din.
Yes.
So
maraming anxiety nung time na yun kasi employees and self-employed were hit hard because it doesn't function without them being there and being present on that action, di ba?
Yes. No. So kaya siya classify as poor mindset because it cannot really give you financial independence. Now, let's talk about the rich mindset. The third quadrant belongs there. It's business income. Ito na yung sinasabi natin na we let the money work for you. But again, it's not just simply having a business, but coming up with the structure, with the system that will allow that business to be self-managed. Otherwise, meron kang financial freedom in the sense that you can earn the income that you want, kaya lang yung time mo wala naman. Diba? And if you're not able to duplicate the results through a structure and through a system, it won't really last. Because the moment you step out of the company, you step out of the business, hindi na nila mauulit yung resulta.
Correct.
And then the fourth quadrant, under the rich mindset pa rin naman, is the investment income, wherein you use your money to buy income-generating assets. And that the income from those assets, you reinvest in other forms of assets and rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
So you just multiply wealth, no? So dito na papasok yung real estate, maybe stock trading, forex, and nowadays crypto, managed funds if you're a bit conservative. Like in the Philippines, we have Pag-ibig MP2, mutual funds, UITFs, etc.
Yeah.
So the main idea is for you to, number one, if you are in the employment side, be grateful that someone hired you.
Definitely,
but also maximize the time you have there in building your skills, your character, and creating your network.
and be better with what you do. Kasi
Yes.
madadala mo yung paglabas mo kung gusto mo na magsarili, di ba?
Yes.
Mm.
As Gen Zs would like to call it, that is your character development era.
Tsaka ano, di ba, isa sa mga na-share ko last time, and this is I believe as well, no? Training yourself within without you spending for it. Kasi may company na nagpo-provide sa'yo ng platform to be able to do it on a practical sense. Kasi yun yung ginagamit ng company to build its business. So may role ka lang, and you get better and better in that role, you become an expert on that role. Di ba? Which can be your business later on when you move out, or you can create a product coming out from that expertise that you have learned from the company.
Yes. And there are also some organizations nowadays na very lucrative yung career path na from entry level, you actually have the opportunity to even reach the C-level and even become a partner. There are organizations who are offering that career path. So,
Pero
hindi mo
mahaba-haba lang yun.
mahaba-haba nga lang.
Oo.
And normally that would require
Loyalty.
age limits, loyalty, even, educational background. Kailangan either nag-masters ka, iba nga nag-doctorate pa. Tsaka yung experience na nire-require, it's not really a joke. No? Mahaba talaga siya. I guess that's one of the reasons then why I strived hard to be good in what I do. Kasi the needs that I have, when I tried to look for other opportunities, hindi siya ma-match ng employment. No. Again, I'm not job shaming. It's just that hindi talaga niya kaya ibigay.
Yeah, just the reality. Yeah.
Especially at my age, right now I'm 32. For me to have the salary that I'm getting in employment, that would require me to be 45 kasi there are roles na may age requirement. Certain maturity siguro.
Right.
Not really sure kasi hindi ko naman na-experience mag 8 to 5 talaga.
Pero Gab, yun nga, so siguro andun ako ngayon sa point na na-realize ko na I would like to go for that route, doing business and or doing investments, no. So what's your take and advice, in shifting from employment or self-employed towards that route, no?
Okay. Kanina we talked about promotion opportunities that it doesn't come at your will, di ba? So, right now, let's say I'm in an 8 to 5, tapos yung sinusweldo ko is just enough for my basic needs. How
Yep.
do I now transition?
Yep.
In fact, I have people consulting me about it na, Gab, what we're earning is just enough. Kulang pa nga kasi we have debts. No. You need to find ways to capitalize on your skill and monetize that.
Yeah.
Kasi ang una dyan, you have to increase your cash flow para meron kang funds to invest in further education or in skills training that will allow you to either form a business o magkaroon ka ng self-employed practice. No? Like freelancing. Freelancing requires a certain level of investment. Kasi marami kang training that you have to attend. There are equipment and tools that you have to buy.
Correct.
And then certify yourself as well, no? Para may authority ka.
Yes.
Certifications, di ba?
Yes. Although most clients, kasi I also tried that. I used to outsource. Ang nangyayari, I was the one talking to the client and then yung job ina-outsource ko. Like a middleman, so I get the difference nung
I see, yeah.
nung sweldo nung gumagawa tsaka binigay nung client sa akin.
Correct.
It was in graphic designing. So some clients would want to look at your portfolio and syempre para makapag-produce ka ng magandang output. For you to get those skills, you have to learn, you have to enroll to classes, you have to buy a good camera, you have to invest in editing softwares. So all these things that are not in your usual budget.
Correct.
Yeah.
You need to have money for that. And for you to get that funding, kailangan mo ng side hustle. So, ano yung mga pwede mong gawin? Pinakamadali talaga, ito for me is sales. Because learning the skill of sales, whether it's tangible or intangibles, it will allow you to create money out of thin air. laway at pagod lang ang puhunan. 'Di ba? Regardless if you're selling properties, insurance, kahit mga consumer products like cosmetics. And the reason why I'm a firm believer of sales kasi yan yung bumuhay sa amin eh. I witnessed how my mom was able to create a future for us because of sales. So, for some people, it's a hard pill to swallow. Maybe because they want it easy. But for you to get out of that cycle, ng rat race na fixed sweldo, barely enough, you really need to make small sacrifices.
Right.
Na yung time mo,
Gab,
ilalagay mo dun.
When you want to move to the next scale no sa ESBI ng cash flow quadrant, pag pumunta ka sa businessman level, hindi pwedeng hindi ka marunong sa sales eh.
Yes.
Kasi ikaw talaga yung ikaw haharap para i-sell yung produkto mo, dahil ikaw nakakaalam nun. Of course, you have people eventually in the sales. Pero like me, for example, my sales team, somehow I put the idea and direction to make sure that the sales people will properly understand and how to, sell it better. For instance, just yesterday, I changed the wordings of the spiel kasi naging iba na yung perception ng mga customer, no, ng mga clients. Kaya sales talaga is key kasi kung hindi ka marunong o nahihiya ka, may impact yun dun sa goal mo na ma-achieve.
Ako, I can attest to that as well kasi may story din. I think I've shared this from our earlier episodes and earlier podcasts na I was born like an introvert, no. My first 2 years of my career as a programmer, wala akong kaalam-alam sa sales. Pero when I transformed myself into a business person, ganun din, wala akong choice. I have to sell my products, no. Dumaan din ako sa struggle na yon, and I think one trait talaga na kailangan mo din is resilience because yun nga, kasi pag meron kang ganung personality, then you can have that motivation to learn it and yung courage, katulad nung facing clients, di ba? Yes. Nakakatakot yan, lalo na kung bata ka eh. In your early 20s, di ba? Hindi siya madali.
Yes.
Di ba? Meron kang anxiety, meron kang pero
kasi may psychological impact yung yung kapag nagkakaroon ka ng nagno-know yung client sa iyo, di ba?
Rejection, yes. Oh.
Yung fear of rejection, that's where it becomes debilitating to people who are into business or into this kind of roles na parang ayokong magkaroon ng rejection kasi bumabagsak yung ego ko or whatever.
Yes, so nande-demotivate ka, no? So, and again,
yung iba pine-personal pa yun.
Correct, oh. And again, if you can develop that trait or character na meron kang resilience kasi, you can easily get up and try again, di ba? So,
and all these experiences and character building, yan naman yung value that you get from employment. Because that's where you can experience that in a safe manner. Bakit safe? Because the clients that you're dealing with are clients of the company. These are not your friends and family.
That's right. Tama yun. Yun yung sinasabi nga kanina. May training ka na to the expense na hindi sa'yo, no? Expense ng company.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Kaya nga, when there are applicants in my business who wants to try it part-time muna and then eventually go full-time, I don't encourage them to resign right away. Kasi it's also a fact that when you start building this side hustle or self-employment practice, whether that's sales or freelancing, hindi naman agad-agad yan magpipick up. Because when you're a beginner, it's normal that you put in level 10 effort and then the result maybe is just level 1. Because you're still learning the ropes. So that 8 to 5 job that you have will still be your cushion. Yan yung magpo-provide ng basic needs mo. And then the side hustle, you use that to fund your dreams.
Yeah.
To increase your cash flow and maybe at some point have that capital for your dream business or to buy your dream assets.
Gab, na-share ko to dati sa last na episode namin, no? Nung nagsisimula ako na starting my business, I was also working. Hindi ko give up yung mataas na sweldo ko na salary na job. Kasi alam ko kailangan ko yun. To the point na minsan kailangan kong magpasweldo ng mga tao. Yung sweldo kong ginagamit ko pang sweldo ng mga tao. para lang matuloy ko yung business, yung deal na yon. Kasi kung hindi, magsa-stop lang kami. So wala nang moving forward dun sa business. Which I was asked and was questioned by my wife, no? Sasabihin niya, bakit mo ibibigay yung pera mo sa kanila? Eh kasi alam ko naman na may parating na collection. So made-delay lang yung ating income.
Yeah.
So that's how you use that cushioning na sinasabi mo, no? Having a job, making sure that you have that option to continue because you have a job, a stable one that provides that income.
Yeah, kasi in reality naman pag nagtatrabaho ka 8 to 5, no, there's like 4 more hours in a day na pwede mong ma-spend into learning, developing the skills, developing products. I mean, I think 2 hours a day, Monday to Friday is something, 'di ba? You can develop something from there in 2 hours a day na yon. As an employee, just allocate that time. Of course, kailangan mo pa rin matulog, kailangan mo pa rin mag-spend time with your family or your loved ones, di ba? Pero, that little step kasi will bring you to that dream, di ba? So, might as well, yung iba kasi talagang, there are people na medyo stubborn, no?
Yes.
Gab, may question ako, no? May I know, by yourself, no? Ano yung goals mo sa sarili mo? You're still young, no? You still have a lot of years ahead of you to achieve, level 10 goal na sinasabi mo. Ano yung, I think that this will also inspire people in terms of your journey to wealth building.
Yes.
I believe that if you would be able to share that, nasa ang level ka na, or anong level or are you satisfied with just this level, or meron kang tinitingnan na, okay, happy ako at this level, pero meron ako next stage na tinitignan, and I can only do this if I do that. So speak to us about this if you don't mind sharing.
Yeah. So when I started my practice 21, 22, back then my goals were simple. I just wanted to earn consistently 6 digits a month. And I know the cost of living there in New Zealand is different. But here in the Philippines,
mas mahal.
Ano na yun? Mas mahal ba? Mas mahal dito?
Hindi, mas mahal dito sa New Zealand,
Yeah.
syempre.
But,
kasi mataas din naman ng income, di ba?
Yes.
Relatively.
Pero dito kasi, a 6-digit monthly income, marami ka nang pwedeng gawin eh. Dati simple lang yon. And then, I was able to get it through the business that I'm doing now. And then eventually, when I started building my organization, nakukuha ko na siya passively, through the sales of my people. Ngayon, siguro, I would say, I want to scale up. Minimum 500 a month, that's what I want. Because there are certain people in my life that I want to bless.
Yes.
Maybe the life that I want is what I'm living right now. Pero it doesn't stop there. I want to bless other people as well. And what I'm doing in managing my organization, this is something that I don't see myself doing for life. Kasi at some point, I would also want to slow down and focus on experiencing the world, no? So, next level for me would be maybe expanding that organization in a sense na magkaroon ako ng mga middle managers who would operate the agency with me. And that also requires investment, not just monetarily, pero also time and experience since I would have to train them. Okay. And also, one of my goals, pag nangyari na yon, I want to put up my own hobby shop.
Yes.
Kasi that's what I do in my free time. I like collecting toys, trading card games, other collectibles pa, no? Mga anime memorabilia. So,
which is also tradable later on in the future, right? I think yung kino-collect mo is increasing value. Is that correct?
Yes, it does. So, I want to put up my own shop. Aside from the income, primarily, it's more on providing a safe space for people of all ages to embrace their inner child. Na doon nila i-express yon, maglaro lang sila. No, so isa yun sa mga tinitignan ko. And also, I did not mention, I also happen to be a solo parent. So, it also comes na yung goals ng anak ko, gusto ko rin suportahan yun.
Of course.
And one of the things that I want to do as well, na alam ko kaya naman nila, pero gusto ko kasi galing din sa akin, is to be able to fund the travels of my parents. So, yun na yung mga bagay na ginugol ko ngayon. I'm already past dun sa providing my physiological needs. Ano na yun? Expansion na it's all about building a legacy. Because I have people in my team na they also have big dreams and gusto ko rin tulungan yun. Kasi ano yan iba-iba naman tayo ng definition ng wealth and success. And for me, I'm already living it. I just want to maintain. Tapos yung goals ko for the future is for other people na.
Right.
Yan.
That's good, Gab. No, it's inspiring for your age. You have this kind of a level of understanding of yourself, your contentment, and what your the things that you needed. No, but at the same time, you're looking at having a goal to be able to support other people. At the same time, parang payback no sa parents mo. Sinasabi mo nga na gusto mo silang bigyan, alam mo kaya nila, pero what is a gift, 'di ba? Kung mabibigyan mo sila na hindi na sila gagastos, pero okay, mom and dad, gusto niyo pumunta Italy, ako na bahala, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Yung mga ganung klaseng aspect. And that's really nice. But of course, ang focus mo ngayon aside from yourself is your son, no? Gusto mo siyang makita na sinusuportahan mo yung kanyang growth and needs at the same time aspirations with the financial capabilities that you are building.
Yes. Kasi what I mentioned earlier, right now doon sa cash flow quadrant, andun ako sa quadrant 2 which is self-employed. So I'm also looking into transitioning sa business income and investment income. So looking into acquiring properties and traditional business, maybe not anytime soon, but more on the investment income side. So
actually, in terms
expanding
of
the
traditional
portfolio.
business, yung ginagawa mo ngayon is sort of a business, pero you need more systems. I can help you with that in developing such systems so that it transitions into a business, not just
Pero
self-employed.
I'm curious, Gab. I'd like to touch on that. I think it's an intentional sa'yo na go for the investment rather than business, no? If I get you right.
Yeah.
Any particular reason why parang somehow
good question.
Yung business is something na so pa yung decision?
Sige. Well, primarily because I don't have the expertise yet.
Alright.
It's something that I still need to learn.
Okay.
And while learning that, yung investment kasi, ano na yan pwede nang simulan, nandiyan na yan.
Pero when you say expertise, no, kasi marunong ka naman ng sales, sabi mo, yun yung first skill na dapat matutunan, no? Especially, it applies also to business, no? Anong expertise ang you're talking about here?
Yeah. This is an area of improvement for me. Kasi when you put up a business, the way I understand it, it's either you provide a product or a service that solves a problem. And right now, that's what I'm trying to get clarity on. Aside from financial planning and sales, which I'm already doing, what else can I put out in the world that people will find value? Kasi the business that I'm doing now, it's a business. Kasi I have an organization that I'm running. I have staff that I'm paying. No, people are helping me in operating this agency. Hindi siya traditional in a sense na wala akong pwesto, wala akong product na sarili ko. I am anchored doon sa company na nagsusupply sa akin ng programs na binibenta ko. So, in reality, hindi siya talaga fully sa akin. So,
I see.
I'm in that part of my life that I'm still figuring out ano yung gusto ko talaga. And while in that process, I'm still maximizing what I currently have.
Right.
No. So, siguro that's one of the conversations that we can have in the future since Paul mentioned that you're into business coaching, di ba?
Yeah, Dennis can help you, into the details of like how to look at accounting of your business, where to start, diba,
Yeah.
Dennis?
Yes, yes.
Ako naman dito sa New Zealand, I'm looking at ang naging focus ko was really I identified a few businesses who already started legally. Yung iba naman hindi pa dahil wala pa silang, when I say legally, wala pa silang registration sa NBI or dun sa SEC natin, ano.
Mga
Hindi
compliance.
sila fully organized, no? So binibigyan ko sila ng mindset of how to systematize a business so that you can jump up. Or yung meron na nakaset up, setting up the whole business structure, like what are the fundamentals of a business, the four pillars of the business, your HR, your sales and marketing, your operations, and your finance, which can be kayo lang dalawang mag-asawa na iba-iba lang ang roles, pero you need those structure and
Yeah.
system for all of these pillars to make it work para eventually when you pass it on to employees, na-duplicate mo na agad yung sarili mo. Then pwede ka magbakasyon 2 weeks, 1 month or so na hindi mo kinaalala na hindi gumagalaw yung negosyo.
Pag nagsimula ka kasi ng negosyo, ang belief ko dyan, it has to be anchored on something that you love doing. Something that you're willing to do even if you're not paid. And
Actually, you have to correct that mindset, Gab, kasi it's not about what you're doing, it's what you think will help solving other people's problem, but you're good at doing it. Minsan ang negosyo mo, hindi yun yung gusto mo talagang gawin. Kaya lang, nakita mo na may opportunity doon at kaya mong gawin yun, set it up. Because you might love it as well later on. Most of the people who have started their business and because sabi na follow your passion, problema, puro passion ang nangyari, wala namang
Walang
wala namang
business.
action. Walang business sense.
walang income.
Walang
ng
profit.
profit.
Yes. So I think yun yung mga bagay na it must be changed in terms of the mindset. Because as I said, may opportunities if that opportunity is for you and you think you have the ability to provide the solution for that, go for it.
Yeah. Ako naman take ko dyan is yung may mga saying na ang difference kasi ng entrepreneur and businessman. Businessman talaga is just focus on the business, yung profits and whatnot. I've been there before, no. I used to also do like selling home interior products like window blinds, carpet, which is not my thing. It's a family business na nakisali lang din ako. I set up my own and I'm profiting, no. Pero hindi, that's something that I'm not passionate about. So give up ko siya kahit na profitable siya. But my brother is tinutuloy niya. And he's like I know it's not his passion, pero kung kumikita siya, happy na siya doon. So iba-iba talaga ng mindset and angle . Wala namang tama at mali doon, nasagot. It's just that kanya-kanya talaga tayo ng preference. Pero I'd like to touch dun sa sinabi mo kanina, Sir Paul, about dun sa yun naman yung mindset ko. It's more of problem solving. Ano ba yung mga pain points nung market na gusto mong i-target and paano mo siya iso-solve? Is that something you're passionate about in helping them out and solve that pain point and problem? That's my my motivation in doing business, no.
Yeah.
Yun. Pero a lot of people fall into the trap of yun nga, hindi nila maiwan yung business.
Yes.
Dahil hindi sila makapag-develop ng proper systems and structure para the business can run on its own. 'Di ba? So in a way, para kang ring self-employed ang mo. Nandun ka sa self-employed na quadrant because or section ng quadrant because nga hindi mo maiwan yung business mo. I've been there before as well. Yung software company na I sold already, no. Yun, so may kanya-kanya tayong doon so somehow going back to the question is wala namang tama or mali kung
mali.
Gusto mo mag-business or you go to the route of investment,
Yeah.
So as long as you are happy, then go for it.
May question din ako to both of you siguro. And this is also good for you, Gab, no? Kasi I'm sure may kliyente ka na overseas Filipino workers, OFWs. sila yung mas may chance na bumili ng insurance or kailangan nila kasi gusto nila ma-insure yung pera na naiipon nila kasi mas malaki yung income nila sa abroad na pag kinonvert mo sa Filipino peso, mas mataas. No? For example, you're earning $100,000 pagdating sa Philippines is worth 500,000 pesos, 5 million pesos a year. So imagine mo yung gap na yon, ano? So anong say mo dun sa mga OFWs na no, they want to jump into investment rather than starting a business kasi syempre hindi nga sila marunong sa pagtayo ng negosyo dahil forever employment din sila sa abroad. What's your take about that?
You don't jump into something that you don't understand, and don't jump into investments if you don't have the right habits yet. So what do I mean by habits? Wealth building kasi it's not simply, okay, may extrang pera ko ngayon, I will use this to fund the business or get into investments. There has to be a proper structure. So, like when you start constructing a building or a house, di ba, most builders, they put high emphasis on the foundation. Because if the foundation is solid, kahit anong dumating na baha or earthquake or whatnot, the structure would remain static. Same with finances. The foundational part of it is wealth protection. Before you get into investments and business, you have to be consistent first with saving. Diba? Kasi if you don't have savings and then at the onset, yung business mo hindi kumita, tutunawin mo rin yung capital mo dyan eh. O kaya, yung funds mo for your personal needs, dyan mo rin dadalhin. And it's not healthy. So when we talk about wealth protection, una dyan, and I believe this is something that you discussed in previous episodes, yung emergency fund. So if you are an OFW and you want to increase your cash flow, whether through business or investments, first you have to make sure that you have emergency fund. If you are earning fixed salary, 3 times your monthly expenses, that is the minimum. If you are earning variable income, let's say you're self-employed, at least 6 times sana. And it has to be in an asset that's liquid and subject to minimal to no risk at all. Para anytime may masira sa bahay, may kapamilyang magkasakit, meron ka mauhugot. Okay? After having emergency fund, you need health insurance, especially yung government mandated. Kasi that's the cheapest form of health insurance that you can get.
PhilHealth, yes.
In the Philippines, we have PhilHealth. Pero in other countries, you have better forms of government insurance.
Yeah, pag OFW ka, yes.
Especially recently, no, when it was announced that there was no budget allocation for 2025 sa PhilHealth, maraming taong medyo nagpanic in social media.
Yeah.
Correct. Iko-correct natin yun, no? Sinusundan ko yan eh. Wala lang subsidy. Kasi nagbibigay ang government ng subsidy. But PhilHealth on itself is a self-funding organization. Yeah. Kasi nga may members eh. So yung mga kino-contribute natin, yun din yung ini-invest nila. Kaya nga may surplus pa sila eh.
Yeah.
Pero ang hindi maganda doon, health yan eh. Bakit yun ang tatanggalin mo ng subsidy? For the longest time, dinalagyan mo, tapos tatanggalin mo. Yeah. Ang dami pang nangangailangan. So, sabi nga ng, si Magno yata yung pinakamalakas na nag-iingay nun, na Attorney Magno ba yan? Is she a lawyer or what? She was talking about, and I agree with her, no? Na sinasabi niya, kung tatanggalin mo lang, dahil lang gusto mo i-reallocate for other expenses of the government, wag na. Sa iba ka kumuha, ibalik mo yan, tapos i-improve mo ngayon yung health structure natin, yung support structure natin. Kasi marami pa talagang nangangailangan eh. And it's not fair na marami nangangailangan Pilipino, tapos sasabihin mo, kaya na ng PhilHealth yun. Hindi pa eh. Hindi pa naman talaga na-cover lahat eh, di ba?
Yeah.
So I agree with you with that health insurance. Pero going back, no, in terms of OFW, na-mention namin ni Dennis in the last episode eh. Siguro magkakaroon ka ng parang rule of thumb, no, like emergency fund, 3 months or 6 months of your salary. Pero we also like to suggest that if you are an OFW and you want to go to investment so that ganun din, makapag-retire ka early. Baka yung iba gusto kasi mag-retire sa bumalik sa Pilipinas, no? Para ma-enjoy yung family nila. Makapagpatayo ng bahay, maayos yung bahay nila na dating luma lang sa tabi ng dagat, maging resort style, maparenta yung ibang part. At least siguro, tumingin ka ng mga 10% and then kung hindi ka marunong, put it to managed funds, no? Like UITF or mutual fund na hindi ikaw nag-aasikaso. Pero lumalago pa rin.
Yeah. When I mentioned the emergency fund, ililimit mo lang yung, kasi usually regular savings account, minimal to no earnings talaga. Yes. Ililimit mo lang siya doon. And whatever you have in excess, that's what you can allocate on managed funds. No. Aside from PhilHealth, kasi can we just quickly circle back to PhilHealth? When that issue, nag-boom siya dito sa social media sa Philippines, there were a lot of financial planners and other practitioners who were saying it's better to get private insurance than pay for your PhilHealth. That is something that I disagree with. Kasi despite having all these issues, you cannot deny that not everyone can afford private insurance. Di ba?
Correct. Mahal din yun eh. Yung medical insurance every year na babayaran mo tapos 'di ba that's more expensive than PhilHealth. Plus ang PhilHealth meron kang employer part na contribution.
Yes.
So nadodoble yung value na ito lang yung kino-contribute mo from your salary.
Yes. And not all of these people who were saying that are even familiar with the total scope of the services of PhilHealth. This is something that I had experienced with. Na when you avail services of government hospitals, totally different ang treatment dun sa may PhilHealth at wala. Meron pa nga silang tinatawag na PhilHealth ward wherein in private hospitals, classified yun as semi-private. Na very minimal to halos wala kang babayaran as long as you are an active member. But again, depende yan kung saan city ka located. Kasi hindi lahat ng government hospitals ganyan. So if you are an OFW, one way that you can manage your financial risk and so that you can focus on investments, if you have dependents in the Philippines na sinusuportahan mo, make sure that they have PhilHealth. That's the bare minimum. And if you have extra, you can you can expand to private health insurance. Okay.
Right.
Other than PhilHealth, you should also have critical illness coverage. I'm not familiar with how long-term care works in where you are right now. But in the Philippines, most HMOs and PhilHealth benefits, they don't give enough coverage for dreaded diseases like stroke, cancer, and heart attack. These are the illnesses that can make you bankrupt in an instant. So, maganda, meron ka rin yan because these are benefits that can cover you even after your senior years. There are even some benefits that can cover you until age 100. And then this is now where life insurance comes in. Because all these OFWs who have big dreams for their families, the plan A in fulfilling those dreams is by relying on their income and maybe diversifying into investments. But investments, when you are starting, it requires you to be there to continuously put in money. Now, if your ability to make money is taken away from you, what's the plan B? Paikliin na natin, insurance is the plan B because that is for income replacement.
Correct.
And there are many ways to compute how much your life insurance can be, whether that's permanent, term, or etc. The minimum should be 10 times your annual income. So that when your income is taken away, your family has 10 years to adjust.
10 times of your annual income. Let's for the audience, no, magandang number 'yon na gawing goal, no. When you say your annual income, let's say you're earning 50,000 a month, so that's about in a year 600,000 pesos. So 6 million dapat ang insurance mo coverage. Is that what you're saying, Gab?
Yeah.
Hindi ba masyado malaki?
Para madaling bilangin, let's say
mahal yung premium nun. Para sa ordinary individual.
Para lang madaling bilangin, no, let's pretend your annual income is 1 million. So it should be 10 million total coverage so that your family has 10 years to adjust pag nawalan ka ng income. I understand the concern, baka mahal ang premium. Pero kasi, Paul, marami ng budget plans ngayon. I'll share with you quickly lang, one of the plans that I have for myself, I have a 3 million coverage from that plan. It covers both life and critical illness. I'm only putting out 2,000 pesos per month.
Oh, that's a good thing. Baka pwede mo i-share sa amin yung ano mo na yung package mo. Dennis,
Pakidraft mo na yung pakidraft mo na yung kontrata, pipirmahan ko na.
Kasi ano yun eh.
Ilagay natin dun sa ating tawag niya sa dito, no? Para may link.
Yeah, sa district para
sa description para makapag-connect with you para maintindihan nila itong this really ito rin ang platform natin to if there is a good product there, a good service na pwedeng nilang makuha, why not, di ba? This is an opportunity for them. Kaya tayo nag-share ng information.
Kasi mahal is subjective. It only becomes mahal if you don't see kung gaano kalaki yung value ng kinukuha mo. For me, as a solo parent, I'm putting out 2,000 per month. Parang Jollibee budget lang namin yun eh. In exchange of that peace of mind na merong 3 million yung anak ko, balang araw, there's value for money for it. Para sa akin. And the reason why the price is like that, because what I have is a permanent plan. If we're talking about temporary coverage, like term insurance, and right now we have micro insurance. One of the term insurances that I had before, I was only paying 12,000 per year. And the coverage was 4 million. 12,000 per year, that's just 1,000 per month. No?
Sabi
mas
ko
mahal pa yung
i-drop mo na yung kontrata ko eh.
Mas mahal pa yung Shopee budget ng common na Pilipino.
Yeah.
So,
correct.
The reason kung bakit nagiging mahal is maybe because hindi na o-open sa kanila lahat ng options. I also had a stint with Security Bank na nag-consultant ako for insurance clients. Even the security guard was insured.
Nice. Oh.
Very good.
'Di ba? Yung budget niya hindi naman ganun kalaki. For us, even for as low as 1,800 per year, you can already purchase term insurance. And this is a must for all breadwinners.
Sorry, 1,800 per year?
Yes.
Or per month?
Per year.
Per year. Okay.
Oo, yung
kasi kami
Kuya
dati may
Guard.
mga tao kami na like for their, particular activity accident insurance, we're getting a very very minimal amount just to make sure that when they're outside they're covered, although hindi kasi meron silang sariling insurance na iba, pero nagdadagdag pa kami, and I believe in that, no. Akala ko na wala na yung mga ganong klaseng mga amount, no, dahil nagpalit na yung mga insurers, gusto nila
baka di lang nila ino-offer sa inyo, pero meron pa. So ano ba yung mga klase ng insurance that the OFWs can purchase? By the way, disclaimer, if you are an OFW and you want to buy insurance in the Philippines, you have to be here at the time of purchase. Yes. Otherwise, it's not gonna be valid.
Lahat ng insurances, Gab, I believe yun yung ang rule. You have to be present in the Philippines. Yeah.
Meron kasing ibang OFW, hindi sila nai-inform dito. Bumibili sila via Zoom habang nasa abroad sila without knowing na yung binili nilang kontrata will be voided. Oo. So, you have the cheapest form right now, it's the micro insurance. Yun yung mga 2,000 per year, 'di ba? Mga 150 per quarter, may ganyan akong plan. 150 pesos per quarter. Next, you have the term insurance. Ito yung parang insurance ng kotse. Bibili ka ngayon, covered ka for 1 year, after 1 year you have to renew. No living benefits. And then you have the permanent plans. These are plans that usually cover you until age 100. And yung medyo on the pricier side na kasi ang haba ng coverage. You also have endowment plans. Ito yung merong maturity benefit that works like a pension. So you're only insured for a specific number of years. After nun, magmamature na siya, may nakukuha ka. And then right now, we also have the investment linked. Yun yung nakatie up with managed funds that works like a mutual fund. So that, at some point in your life, when you don't need the coverage anymore, siguro wala ka nang binabayaran, wala ka nang dependents, you have something to redeem para hindi naman nasayang yung pera mo.
In other terms, ito yung mga VUL?
Yes. So, kung anong plan yung bagay sa'yo, that will depend on your risk profile, your needs and priorities, and kung nasa ang life stage ka na. If you want to know kung ano yung bagay, best is to talk to a financial planner. Ngayon, going back dun sa topic na OFWs, paano ngayon ako magta-transition to investment income? You secure your protection assets first. Kasi, even if you get into the managed funds, like mutual funds o kaya pumasok ka sa isang broker who would trade stocks for you, still, there's no guarantee that you will make money right away. Having all these protection assets, it will not make you rich, but it will prevent you from being broke. You have that peace of mind that if my investments don't earn right away and then biglang may emergency, may unforeseen expense, meron akong paghuhugutan. Karamihan kasi ng OFW na nag-i-invest na nakikilala ko, especially yung mga bumubuhos ng pera sa property and traditional businesses, wala silang backup plan. Kaya pag nalugi yung negosyo, pag yung property, walang tenant, yung pera, naka-lock in din, hindi sila liquid. So they end up selling all these assets ng palugi.
Yep.
Diba? So once you have those protection assets in place, you can now afford to put in money in investments that are not liquid. And then the additional cash flow that you will be getting from your managed funds, from your rental property, maybe from that franchise business, yun na ngayon yung pwede mo i-expose sa higher level of investment. By higher level, what I mean is higher level of return, at the same time, higher level of risk. Yung mga speculatives na.
Right.
Diba?
Yun. So, yeah, napakarami natin nakuhang mga actionable insights and advice kay Gab. Thank you so much, Gab. I know you're busy. Salamat sa punta mo, for showing up here for our audience.
I think kailangan natin ng second episode kay Gab.
Oo, medyo bitin, no?
Oo.
But of course, siguro for the sake of our listeners or audience, kung gusto nilang mag-inquire sa'yo or mag-seek ng advice, saan mo sila pwedeng dalhin?
Yeah. You can actually reach out to me and connect with me through my TikTok and Facebook page. It's at Coach Gab Pueyo. Yun yung aking tag.
Yun, at Coach Gab Pueyo. Okay.
Ilagay din natin sa description yan, Dens, no? Para at least madaling makuha ng mga audience in case.
Sige, before I wrap, siguro final words, Gab, or final words of encouragement and advice sa ating listeners. Okay.
So for the listeners, if you're watching this episode, congratulations. You've taken a step further towards your wealth building journey and financial freedom journey, no? Kasi it always starts with having that awareness that I need to learn. There are things that I have to know. So if you're watching right now, keep it up, mag-subscribe ka sa wealth building journey.
Yun.
And then second, if you don't get or grasp all the concept at once, it's okay. Because wealth building is a lifelong journey. Mm-hmm. Enjoyin mo lang, just take what's applicable for you and apply things one step at a time. What's important is number 1, meron kang source of learning. Number 2, sometimes kasi environment is stronger than desire. After mo makinig dito, you're so inspired to implement the learnings. Tapos you're surrounded by people na negative or surrounded by people na ang daming limiting belief sa pera. Hindi mo rin ma-apply. Find a community of like-minded individuals.
Yun. Oh.
I like that.
Last is find a mentor. And mentor doesn't necessarily mean na may face-to-face meeting ka sa tao na to. Nowadays, it's very accessible through podcasts and YouTube.
Yeah.
So, gawin mo lang yung tatlong yon, apply the learnings one step at a time, and eventually you'll get there.
Yun. So, Gab, thank you so much for, sharing again your insights and personal journey into wealth building, no? How about you, Paul? You have any last words or advice?
No, I'll just double down on what Gab said. Just educate yourself. Again, like inuulit ito every time nag-end tayo. Have a platform to educate. Follow us para at least mas makakuha kayo ng authentic insights about these things, our life experience. We will endeavor to have more and more guests here who are experts of their own fields. And as sabi ko nga kanina, siguro si Gab must have another episode, maybe another 2 episodes para himayin natin yung mga iba-ibang klaseng insurances, anong benefits, anong value. And yung cash flow quadrant, siguro bigyan natin ng emphasis ulit yun because I believe yun yung parang pinaka-basic framework natin na pwedeng gamitin para maka-transition yung mga tao in building their wealth and financial freedom.
Yep.
So,
sounds good. So join us next week, as we explore more strategies and stories to help you on your path to financial freedom. Thank you so much again, Gab.
Thank you, Gab.
Maraming
Thank you,
salamat din, and I hope nakakuha kayo ng value sa mga kinwento ko.
Of course, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Gab. We appreciate it. Yep.